In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to fit the front wheel of the Delport flyer. So starting off with the short axle, okay, I'm going to feed that through the axle stand. I'm just going to use a normal M3 nut, which I'm just going to feed onto there, and just start to twist that through. Okay, just get that on there to start with, and then I'm going to use the front wheel. Okay, I'm just going to feed that front wheel on. That will just go through there and in, and then I can just wind that back the way. Okay, I'm just going to get that in and through. I'm just sort of manoeuvring it backwards and forwards just to give myself enough space to put that in. Okay, that'll do. Now before that reaches the other axle stand, I need to put the other nut on. So again, just a normal M3 nut, which I'm just going to feed onto there. If you have problems putting the M3 nuts onto the axle, you may want to actually put it through the belt sander just to sort of take the edges off. Okay, if you look at mine, it's slightly pointed. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so I'm just feeding that through. Alright, now I can put that through the other axle stand. And now what I'm doing is I'm just winding those on, trying to get them as central as I can. So that both kind of ends are sticking out from the, about the same distance from each side of the chassis of the car. Doesn't matter how far they stick out, okay, so don't worry too much if they do stick out quite a lot. Doesn't really matter. Okay, a little bit more I think to that side. Okay, and that's approximately in the center. Okay, now what I need to do now is I need to add in these two nylocs, one to each side. Okay, now the key thing here is because the nylocs are really, really difficult to get on, if I use these bits here and tighten those in, okay, so if I tighten those two M3 nuts really, really tight onto that front wheel, I can actually use this as a kind of extra leverage from when I'm tightening that up, okay? So I'm just going to get those two in there. I need two pairs of pliers, okay, so my second pair, and I'm just going to tighten those as much as I can onto that wheel. So if I hold one, okay, I can really tighten that. Okay, so I'm just maneuvering this one there. Okay, if you struggle to use the pliers, we do have some tiny little spanners somewhere, so if you ask, we should have a couple available, but you should be okay with these, and you'll just try to tighten it as much as you can. Alright, really needs to go on there super, super firm, really tighten it up. Okay, and that should now be on there absolutely super, super tight. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm now going to put this first nyloc nut on there. Okay, so there's the nyloc. Remember, it's got that little plastic insert in there, which hopefully will stop that. Means it stops it coming off, and obviously we need that because otherwise it's going to fly off as our car's flying down the road. So I'm just going to feed that on. To start with, I should be able to just do that with my fingers and just tighten it up. But when I get to a certain point, it gets stuck and it's actually becoming quite difficult now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold this end here with my pliers, and I'm just going to wind the wheel in. Okay, and I can feel that going on. There it goes, and it's just feeding that through. Now obviously I don't want to over tighten this, so when I'm coming into towards the kind of axle stands, I want to get it close to the axle stands but not really touching, otherwise it's just going to add extra friction to my car, which is going to cause it to slow down. So we're nearly there. Obviously if these come undone as you're tightening them, just stop for a second, two pairs of pliers, and sort of re-tighten them up again. Okay, so that's one side nearly done. I'm just going to check that's kind of in the middle. I've maybe gone a little bit too far. Obviously if you over tighten it, you could do exactly the same the other way, just undo it that way. Okay, and that'll be about central, maybe a little bit too far again. Okay, that's in the centre, and I'm just going to do exactly the same on the other side. So the M3 nut, so the flat bit is going on the inside, and the kind of curvy bit of the nut is sticking out the way. That first bit I can do just finger tight, and then I need my pair of pliers, hold down to that. Okay, and then I can just wind that in. Obviously I'm winding it a different way, so where I turned one wheel towards me, this time I'm turning away from me, and that should cause that to tighten up. Okay, that looks pretty good. So there's my front wheel in and spinning, and it's on there, held on each side by the nyloc, and that's the front wheel assembly done.